Welcome to the Great People Podcast, episode 11.
Welcome to the Great People Podcast, where topics that people expect to be black and white are discussed by going into the gray areas. And now, your trio of hosts, Sebastian Zuniga, Reina Rivera, and Randy Felice.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Great People Podcast. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it, however it may be that you're listening to us. Today we have Sean in the building with us. We got Reina, Randy, myself. We wanted to go ahead and talk about growing up, our culture, how that influences, mold us. And the question, because I want to break it down in a question. The question is, how did our culture... Randy, how's it go?
How did it, growing up where we grew up or how we grow up, what did we learn from it? How do we grow to be who we are today based on that? And then
we're going to go ahead and talk about that. And then once we all talk about that in the show, I want to see if we could all pinpoint some similarities that we have that from growing up. So, like we said, the first question on the show is how our culture, environment, our surroundings molded us to be who we are. So today's episode, we're actually going to get to know a little bit about each other.
A little
bit more of how we grew up. So, Reina, tell us a little bit more, I guess, about yourself, how culture influenced you, your environment, a little bit more, so we can check out some similarities.
Let's see, where do I begin? So, I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey. So, I was there till I was 12. So, I guess in that aspect, what I learned was that hard work pays off, and also that where you start off isn't where you're always going to end. Different things happened in my life. My dad had a stroke, and we ended up in Puerto Rico, where both of my parents were born and raised. So it just taught me that a lot of things change, first of all, and that, I don't know, maybe I was meant to be in Puerto Rico, because that's honestly where I felt like I grew as a person. I met my best friend. I went to school there, went to college there, and I experienced so many different things that I feel like if I stayed in Jersey City, it would have been completely different. Like, I compare my life to who were my friends back then, and I'm just like, you know what? Deep down, I'm kind of happy that I was taken out of that environment.
Sebastian's giving it some deep thought.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about a lot of things. Just okay, so that was beautiful. That was great stuff. So you said, because I just caught that you said that it made you understand that life, where you start is not where you finish, and that basically you work hard for what you get. So tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what did you mean by that exactly, Reina? What did you see, I guess, in Jersey, in Puerto Rico, that culture that you're telling us that you got these things from?
Well, as far as, like, I guess culture-wise, I feel like most...
Because you're Puerto Rican.
Yes. So I'm from... Well, my parents are Puerto Rican. I'm born in New Jersey, but
break that down
most
to me.
of my life in Puerto Rico anyway.
Break that down to me really fast. You being Puerto Rican, born in Jersey, you're Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Right? That's how you feel, right?
I feel Puerto Rican. I mean...
And then you were raised there partially?
Yes.
Does that ever get questioned?
I feel like my important years were in Puerto Rico.
No, exactly. Does that ever get...
I've had people tell me I'm not a real Puerto Rican, but those people don't matter.
I get that all the time, I guess, just because I ain't from the island.
Okay. So back to that, Reina. Tell us.
No, I just feel like for living in Jersey, I wouldn't. There's tons of good memories that if I really sat down here and I would say, you know what, I loved the environment that I was around. Like the fact that even though I didn't have my entire family there, the neighbors and everybody made it feel like we were at home and that we were family. But we can't I guess forget about living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was me, my brother, and my parents. I shared a bed with my mom. Obviously, it wasn't the best environment. It was roaches everywhere. Like, carpet was always, messed up. So I'm just saying,
sounds like home to me.
Going from that
That's
to,
bad.
living in Puerto Rico where my dad, with all his hard work, he built a house from the ground up. I finally had my own room when I finally moved over there. And it was just great. I feel like it was a good example, I guess, of the American dream where you go, you get established, but then you work really hard and then you end up where you really want it to be because they never... nobody really wants to leave their family because all of their family was over there.
So
they end up back. So
when you say, they made you feel at home, right? I'm sure there's something from what we know of our cultures, right? There's maybe like the partying side of it, or there's like the food side of it, and like we have a certain warmth. I think that it's from our own people. Was there a lot of that you saw, like where you grew up in Puerto Rico, where it's like, was it like little Puerto Rico in your neighborhood? Like was
pretty much like my apartment complex was everybody was Puerto Rican. Across the street, everybody was Dominican. So pretty much it was like an invitation each time. Like there's a baby shower there. Okay, let's cross the street. There's a baby shower upstairs. Let's go upstairs. Like it was always a party. It was always inviting. There was always good food. Like eso hasopao en la yarda. That was good.
And I think in talking about, for example, the way I grew up, right? And I grew up in the Dominican Republic. So I was born here in the States, but I grew up in the Dominican Republic all the way through, like, till I finished high school. Now, I think...
a little reverse story for you. So you were born in the States and raised in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and I think,
Didn't you luck out?
I consider myself, a kind person and someone that will really help, and I don't know, and it's what I saw around, you know what I mean? I until I came to the States, and of course there's a certain level of like privacy out here. It's like you could grow up here and you never get to really meet your neighbor. Like you could go 20 years and you don't know
who my neighbors are right now.
Exactly. And growing up, for example, I would be walking, I remember walking, being 8 and be walking somewhere, and some dude would just pull up in a little motorcycle and be like, "Tú eres el hijo de Emilia, right? Like, you're Emilia's son." And I'll be like, "Yeah." It's like, "Get on, I'm going to take you. Where you going?" I was like, "Oh, get on."
Good luck with that in the
Exactly.
States.
But
like somebody did that to you in Jersey. You're like, nope.
If you're lucky, you'll get a call in half an hour for a ransom. With luck.
No, but I think...
You don't know who I am, do you? You ain't getting shit.
But, for me, I saw that, and for example, now I don't have any kind of problem, and maybe it's going to get me in trouble one day, knock on wood, or hopefully it doesn't. But one day, like, I see someone, I'm driving down the street, and someone's pulled over because their car broke down. I'll, like, flip around.
Well, we've already had this conversation. I've always told him not to do that.
Exactly, but it's because, for me, that's kind of who I am.
Maybe that's why, because we obviously grew up in different areas,
and
I'm terrified of that. Like, you're not going to help nobody know.
And that shaped me, I feel like that shaped me to who I am. I feel like, I grew up in a community where people help people. We grow up where everybody kind of, we take care of each other, and people are kind and people are not malicious, I guess. For the most part, of course, you're going to find those people that are going to like, give me everything you got right now. And
so basically what I'm getting from, like you're saying, your environment, the way you grew up, that's molded you to be somebody that is kind, but you're always looking for good in people. Like you're not as far, like you're saying, you don't think everybody's out to get you. That's what your environment's taught you. And of
course, it's taught me to be careful too, because I saw some crazy shit down in the Dominican Republic. Like, I'm telling you, like, in the neighborhood I grew up, at least my high school years, in El Prado, in Asua, it's a place called El Prado.
Shout out to El Prado.
Yeah. No, but, you were outside, and, like, for example, me, I got to know kind of, like, the drug dealers or whatever you want to call, like, the people that run the block, right?
We need no names on this show.
Yeah. No, but they would tell me, like, we will be kicking it, and, like, some shit was about to go down, and they were like, "Yo, Randy, you probably want to get out of here." And I know the cues. I was like, "Oh, cool, my dude, I'm going to see you in 20 minutes. And honestly, sometimes I'll get inside 10 minutes later, pop, 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 pop. I'm like, oh, I hope he's well. But, so I saw a lot. And I think I grew up to be smart, like street smart in a sense. Like I know what's going on. I know who's dealing. Like, even when I came out here and I started going to clubs, I wasn't like, what are they doing outside right now? Shouldn't they be dancing? No, I know they're probably getting high in the back. And, like, so I wasn't oblivious.
Shouldn't they be dancing? I'm dancing. Is he dancing?
No, like, I wasn't oblivious to it. So I grew up to be kind of like street smart, but I think at the core of it, Dominican people do take care of people. And I feel like I always
So that's actually where I wanted to get with you, because we're speaking culture. And now, since we're speaking specifically about one country, because you went to one country, the rest, everybody here has been raised here in the States, regardless of what other culture they have, and we'll get into that in a minute. So we're saying you feel that in your heart, Dominican people generally as a whole is a people that cater for other people.
Yeah, they're loving people.
That's cool.
And, I'm not sure you guys saw a lot of that, but, like, Sean, you grew up in New York. How was it for you?
Tell us a little bit more about
Puerto
you.
Rican, like, your background.
Tell us a little bit about
yourself. I mean... So I'm Puerto Rican, but if you're literally from the island, you're gonna say no, you're not real Puerto Rican.
You're not.
So that's why we identify ourselves as like New Yorican. And I don't know, I'm just Northeast. I would say all day. As far as like the people aspect, I'm the type of person where I wish I could see the good in people. I don't. I just don't. I'm not gonna give you the benefit of the doubt from the jump. You're gonna have to earn it. That's where I come
earn
from.
the benefit of the
You
doubt.
have
I like
to
that.
earn the benefit of the doubt.
I like that,
And,
actually.
okay, and that obviously probably breaks down from your
Yeah.
upbringing, your culture.
Yeah.
Like, so what
You gotta
molded
earn
you?
Sean's
Tell us about
trust.
Yeah, because growing up, single mom, had a shared 2-bedroom home with like 9 different people, 19 story in the projects, just things like that. But me just watching my mother's death. I think we went over that in earlier episodes, right?
Show,
I think we did. I don't know, but so my mother's death, and just watching her and how she watched people, that helped me watch people as well. Because I thought she was watching people because that's how it was. She just literally had to because of a disability. But I adopted that, and that's how I became very observant of a person.
That's actually pretty interesting. So like, and maybe just understanding people's skills and kind of like who you grow up to be. Do you feel like you look at someone and you can kind of read them, like you get a?
I mean, I feel like I think we all kind of go off of vibes as it is, but I genuinely believe that. Like I look at a person, I can almost feel it. But kind of like what Rena was speaking of, like hard work pays off. I'm still looking for that. A lot of my family, we still grinding. A lot of my cousins though, they're making it. I'm proud of that. I feel like I'm making it every day just because from the situations we came from. I don't know. I would say though my childhood is a little scattered around. Like as much as all the parties I remember of like, families and stuff, a lot of my growing up was being homeless too at the same time. So that's why when I come out life, I'm like, maybe that's why I don't have that filter or that catering to it. I'm just like, no, fuck it. This is the way it is. This is the way I gotta be.
Yeah,
because life don't care about you.
Yeah,
you just gotta care about life. That's how I look at it.
That's actually a good point, and it's just kind of crazy to think, right? Like. I think sometimes we don't take that from people. Like you see somebody like, yo, why aren't you more kind? Why aren't you nicer?
Yeah.
And like,
and I guess I grew up with my mother kind of saying, like, explaining, like, oh, well, I'm like this because I'm Puerto Rican. You know, like we just have that. You think it, you believe it, you know it, and I guess it helps you achieve or go above and beyond in a way instead of just being like, oh, I'm just here. It's like, no, I'm Puerto Rican. I got to make it out of it.
Yeah.
Our ancestors been through worse.
That's true.
So let's, adapt and overcome.
Listen, and you grew up in New York, right, Sarah?
Correct. So. That's what my birth certificate says. New York City. So
what does that look like, because Colombian growing up?
That looks like poor, imagine? No, that looks like, so obviously I'm born in New York. Queens is the borough to 2 Colombian parents, immigrants, to this country. I think we're almost dipping to the second one. I'm hearing a lot of hard work here, but yeah, it's really what it breaks down to. A lot of hard work. Everybody's here speaking about their families. So yeah, the culture that I'm raised in, it breaks down to multiple things. Being Colombian American, born here, I still have, that Colombian in me, which is from the food to the music, which is, salsa, merengue. You listen to all this Latin music. Then you have, the food that we all eat, rice, beans, meat, plantains.
Potatoes,
so I got,
jams.
Jams. We get all that from the culture. Then you get a little bit more added in there because you get that New York culture, which is multiple cultures all in one.
Yeah,
it's a melting pot.
Out there. It's a grind.
It's a melting pot. That's where I had my childhood. Moved to Utah, and you get another culture, even though it's the same country. It's United States. You'd be surprised how different it is. I've traveled, the Northeast. I've been down to Florida. I've been to Texas. I've been out west, and it's one big country, but it's a whole lot of different regions. So, but mostly, I would say what's molded me is just same thing. Family, mom, strong, willed, been through trials, and just always remain positive. I think that's where I get my positive side from. But it just made me kind of think right now. I was trying to think about everybody growing up, and everybody was kind of speaking about just hard work. So I guess that's something.
So we had great examples.
I guess we all had great examples of hard work.
And it's interesting, growing up, for example, talking about now, going into like the second topic or like the second piece of it, right? What do we have in common? I think talking about hard work.
The struggle, but then actually ending up somewhere.
Yeah, we started at the bottom, now we're here. Yeah, and then, I think, I go back and it's interesting how different cultures can be. And again, talking about like growing up in the Dominican Republic and growing up here. If you ever heard out here in Utah or anywhere in the States, yo, he's 12 years old and he's working, you'll be like, yo, that's child abuse. And what are you doing? Like, but in the art, I remember being 12, 13 and be like, Mom, I want this, I want that. Like, I want the notepad that has Goku on it, right? And I was like, oh shit, I want that, right? And my mom will be like, yo, those are a little bit more expensive. You can work, you know, I know so-and-so at the mechanic shop, he'll give you a little job, just bring in the little tools, and he'll give you 25 bucks a week, 25 pesos a week, right? And you felt like, yo, you were doing something, you were being productive, and you were getting money.
Cool.
And, you know, I remember, since I was like 12 or 13, I always had something to do. I wasn't out, like, slinging drugs or whatever you want to call it, and I think partially because of that, because I was like, yo, I got to be at the mechanic shop right now, or Jose's going to yell at me if I don't show up at 10 in the morning like I promised. And, you know, it has like that thing that grows up and it's different, right? And
so would you say that your culture, because you did say, and I consider you to be a person that, you know, is wise, you're street smart, you know, but you would consider that your upbringing is more laid back, more chill?
Yeah, a lot of it is chill. And I think it like, again, talking about where you are, right? And the unemployment rate in the Dominican Republic is about 18%, 17, 18%.
High, yeah.
So what else you gonna do?
Chill.
You know, so even you have grown up people, like I remember my uncles, some of them, right, or my dad or my cousins, they'll be at the corner, they'll be at the bridge, for example, which there was a bridge by my house, and we would just chill at the corner and just kind of hang out, and you know, it wasn't anything malicious, but there wasn't much to do. Then somebody gets a little job at the hardware store, and now they're gone from 4 to 8 or, you know, whatever times. And it really kind of molds you into like, yo, like life is what it is. One, I don't have all the things. I can't even get a job. So let's take it as it goes. Let's chill. Let's enjoy life.
That's cool.
But then, you know, if you do want things,
you stressed out here. You don't got a job. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. So
hopefully I buy that cardboard box later.
It just kind of shows. And again, talking about that hard work that kind of comes around.
I think that's interesting because New York, growing up there as a kid, and then here, Utah is two different paces.
Yeah.
It is. But overall, my life has felt fast. And definitely, I'm saying in comparison to what I hear of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is the States, and regardless of anything, you chill here for
There's
2 weeks. And you're society scum. You know what I'm saying? You're behind.
It sounds like a vacation.
No, and it's true because here you have a fast pace. And I can tell you, ever since I got to the States when I was 17, 18, and I started working at Little Caesars back then, since then I felt like I don't have a break. It's like, I got to wake up, I got to get ready because I got to get to work. And if I'm 10 minutes late at work, that's some shit. You know what I mean? And
that's true. That's what it is.
And honestly, for what it is, and as much as I try to help people, there's times that I'm driving by, someone's pulled over, and it may look like an older lady, and I'm like, yo, I should probably stop. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be late to work. And, you know, now I guess I'm in a different position in life, so I probably can't stop now. But when I was on the grind on my account manager or agent years, I was just, yo, I'm not going to get fired to help some lady. Like, I got to go because I'm on the schedule. So it is different. It is kind of...
Reina, what, my bad, Randy. That was good.
You're good. Yeah.
Reina, okay, what similarities have you seen that you feel that you've seen here in this conversation? I like this conversation. It's been open. We've learned a little bit about everybody here and culture. Actually, I got a question that I want to add to this. But you could go ahead and answer that, and then I'll ask you the question.
Similarities
of people's cultures. I have one, and maybe you guys can go off this.
What?
Obviously, at the end of the day, we're all Latin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got Dominican, Puerto Rican, and Colombian.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there's similarities. If we were to get into other countries, because obviously there's tons of Latin American countries, but
we're probably the most similar to each other anyways, like
yeah,
in general,
like for sure we got more similarities than, let's say,
than
a Dominican and a Mexican, or Puerto Rican and Guatemalan, or a Colombian and a Honduran. Like, we have more similarities just because of music, food, and things that we like. It's interesting. I did have a question for everybody here. Okay, so if you'd have to either make a slogan or describe the word culture in one word, what would it be?
Damn, that's hard.
Reina, ladies first.
Dang, that's hard. Hold on.
They say
culture
age before
in one
beauty.
Word?
Yeah, if you had to describe culture in one word, what would it be?
Why'd you say age before beauty? What you saying about Raina?
What? I didn't even hear that. Oh my god.
I got interrupted, and I was trying to say, I know they say age before beauty, but we'll let beauty go first.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Good save.
I believe he would have said that.
Well, if the shortest guy in the room can go too, so we'll let you take the floor.
All right, so
Okay, culture in one word. Hold
Describe
on.
culture in one word.
damn, that's the
Uniqueness.
unique.
I like that. That's a good word. What about you, Randy? What you got?
For me, it's tradition.
Tradition.
one.
I like that. What about you, Sean?
I'm
would say
smart. You
it's,
saw that, guys? I'm smart.
I say it's a Heim 57.
Okay?
Heim 57. It means a mixture of everything.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't get that one. No.
Yeah. Well,
So we got
how intelligent.
we got Heinz.
Must be part of your culture.
We got Heinz 57. We got
Uniqueness
uniqueness,
and tradition.
tradition.
I'm kind of debating if uniqueness is a word. Is it a word?
Unique.
Unique.
Yeah.
Unique.
I'll say culture to me in one word is reality.
Damn. That's deep,
But
too.
why? Why do you say reality?
I was telling this to Sean yesterday off air.
Mhm.
To me, culture is your reality and your reality is your culture because
Yeah.
everything molds you. So the culture of you being, when people are like, "Oh, you're a hard worker," that's a culture that you built. If you're even your reputation, whatever, even amongst your friends, like our friendship here, and this is for all the people that are listening, if they ever want to be our friend in person. People, we have a cool social group. Not bragging like that, and people are like, "Oh, we like hanging out with you guys. You guys are fun. You guys are chill." Why? Because we built a culture based on that. That's our culture. Our culture is that we're people here that like to have fun. We like to joke around. So I feel like anything that you do always builds your culture, and your culture is really who you really are. So it's just a mixture. Your culture is your reality is your culture.
Bam.
So back to Raina, because I wanted everybody to describe that word because I like that. We
I like
talked
how
about
you
High
broke it
57.
down.
We did the reality. Raina said uniqueness. So why is that to you uniqueness?
Because everybody's different. So I feel like for me, what makes my culture unique is we just are loving people. Puerto Ricans in general, we're loving. We love to party. We
love
What?
things. That's what
Oh, yeah,
we
you love
love
things.
We are
things.
loving though. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real.
That murder rate, same
Yeah.
kind of opposite.
I mean,
I guess that's the controversy on the
just
show.
don't cross us.
But
Hey, love kills.
love
don't,
does it.
don't mess with us and we won't hurt you. But
Damn.
we're loving.
We love passionately. Is that what you mean? We love passionately.
We're passionate. There we go. Let me change that. We're passionate people. We love to party. We make some good food. And I feel like in general, I feel like when I meet another Puerto Rican, I feel like they always look at the positive side. Like even in the job that I work at and we, take different or speak to different people from different places in the world. Whenever I come across a Puerto Rican, I just feel like they're always so like positive. Like, something bad could have happened, but no, we're going to look at the bright side. It's going to be great. Things happen and we move on. So I just feel like that makes
I think it happens a lot anytime that a person speaks with somebody of their race or ethnicity, country.
I'm sure
you talk to Dominicans and
it's like an instant connection. And the same, like you talk to a Mexican, talks to Mexicans, like things start clicking. No, but that's a good point.
What about your word? You said tradition. Break more tradition because tradition is huge on culture.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you look at just the way that, again, talking about tradition and culture, what shapes you. There's ways that I think Hispanics in general do things, and Dominicans also do it. Like I guess my mom, for example. My mom, as much as she loved us, she will fucking hit us with whatever was around. It could be a cable, it could be a shoe, it could be a broom, it could be the stick of the broom.
I got a broom broke on me.
I did too.
The belt buckle.
Left
belt. And I think that
left arm.
And that part comes from the tradition. And I can tell you, like I was honestly thinking about it as we were talking. Like for example, Dominicans are very military kind of raised, where like very like you have to address elders and like yes sir, and very like a lot of military kind of background.
Yeah.
And I think, it kind of shapes the culture. When your mom hits you, it's because that's what her mom probably did, her dad probably did. And it just kind of, you never looked at us like, yo.
You mean to tell me nobody put you in timeout already?
No, but my dad put me in timeout, which is interesting. I think I think he's white.
Wait, Julio put you in timeout?
No, honestly.
He's like, we're going to switch some traditions up.
When was that? How old were you when he put you in timeout?
Honestly, funny enough, I was probably like 14, 15 already. Like,
what?
No, because my dad
went down to DR?
My dad didn't go down to DR. When I was about 12, is when he moved back to DR. And I can tell you, it was pretty effective too, because at that point...
It was effective after you got beat up?
He's like, these white people are honest.
And it's
I would
interesting.
laugh.
I think it depends how you do it, because, for example, my grandma's house was where all the kids came to play.
So he embarrassed you?
Not embarrassed me. My dad would put me in timeout. I would be looking out the window. All my friends would be playing, and because of some dumb shit I did, I couldn't go out and play. Well, you're going to learn a way too.
Well, honestly, that's actually kind of good. That's cool, because he brought that from here, obviously, from the States.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just, because you're probably thinking like, F it, I get beat, and I'm back out. I do whatever I want. But he switched it up on you. But I'm almost thinking that's got to be effective, because you're already used to your culture, your tradition to be like, I'm going to get disciplined on a physical way, and we're going to continue. But he shook you up by putting you in this timeout.
Yeah, and I think it was actually kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because I think my dad, knowing my dad, and anybody that knows my dad, he's a very fun-loving guy. So I don't think, honestly, he probably would have never really hit me before or after living in the States. But I do think it's like those traditions, those things.
You're blessed.
Yeah, and those things that made you, the food, the dancing, the whatever the case was, I think it kind of makes for, again, all the tradition. And again, for anybody and everybody, I'm sure people that grew up in Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, there's those things that are like, yo, that's what my people are about, and that's my culture.
I tell you what, we got to get your father on the show someday, because that would increase ratings drastically immediately.
People love my dad.
Give some parental advice.
Yeah.
You can get some, a lot
controversy.
of advice.
No, cool. No, but I like that.
Okay.
I like that. So, no, but
what about Sean? He didn't explain his, or did you?
yeah,
he
he did.
did.
Heinz 7, a mix
I
of everything.
didn't explain.
Oh,
didn't
please
explain.
take the floor and explain. Heinz 57 on a hot dog. Go ahead. Please. Go ahead. Heinz 57.
What I mean by Heinz 57 is, being Puerto Rican, like, a lot of us look different. So that's what I mean by a mixture of everything. We can look black. We can look like we from Europe. We can look like we just native, like, the Tainos and everything.
Or white like you.
Yeah, like, look at me. Like, I look European in a way. Like,
What do I look like?
You don't. We won't say.
Dang.
No, but so it looks like we're a mixture of everything, but really we're the same people. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
but we still have
Actually,
the same traditions.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of that too.
You know what I mean? So that's what I meant by that.
No, that's actually
I like
really cool.
Heinz 57.
So, cool. So when we break it down, like, what is it? Culture is your reality. Your reality is your culture, right? Something like that's what you were saying.
Right. Culture is your
57.
reality, and reality is your culture.
Did we
Mix of
talk
everything.
about what we're similar in?
Yeah, we've
Getting
been talking about.
getting hit with that chancleta. Did you get smacked with the chancletas and that shit?
Yeah, broom, bell, hanger.
What was the
Phone.
weirdest thing you got smacked with?
That's a
phone.
good question.
A phone?
Yeah, phone.
Like a phone cord?
Sean,
A phone
did
yeah,
itself?
phone. Just
What's the
boom,
weirdest
like a
thing you
phone
got
cord.
hit with?
The iron.
The actual.
Holy shit.
Well, my mom was ironing my clothes, and I did something stupid, and I probably said something in her face and ran off. And she probably said, "Come back," and she right in it on instinct, like a Spanish woman, ripping it off the wall and just throwing it, and it hit me in the back of the head.
Oh my god.
You learned that day, right?
I thought I did.
Yeah.
I learned for a good week. That's
What about you, Raina? Did you ever get hit, or what was the weirdest
Yeah, I
thing?
got hit. I think I got hit when it wasn't even my problem. Like,
I think that was all.
Yeah, I think that happened.
I literally
If you had siblings,
All the
like, you
kids
can't
did
get
it.
it.
You were
It ain't your
around.
fault. Yeah.
my brother did something. I don't remember what it was that he did, and I was
Oh,
asleep. And then my mom woke up my dad.
For a
Mira,
beauty.
métele que hizo algo. And he wakes up, and the first thing that he thinks to do is to smack the shit out of me. And I was asleep. I didn't even do anything, and they still
Yeah.
talk about that to
This
this day. Because I'm
motherfucker.
like, I was asleep. How did I get hit?
Not for nothing, but that was the worst when maybe you were the one that did something, and you were sleeping, and you wake up to an ass whooping you.
Yo, I was gonna say, does that happen to everyone here, right? Like, or your mom's like waited until you went to sleep,
Oh
like,
my
I'll get you.
I'm gonna
I'll get you. And she's like, oh,
You thought
whatever.
it was
She
over?
forgot. and all of a sudden you waking up and just getting your ass whooped by
I love-
like a hanger or some shit. Just
Oh, yeah,
That shit-
I got a broom
That
broken
shit is
into my back.
funny.
I think that's
It
what
makes me think that shit is so funny because I love my mother to death, and she probably won't even remember the story because half the times they don't remember half the shit they did.
I never did that.
But
Now,
They
because I was a
You
bad mother. Because I
exaggerating.
was a bad mother to you, right?
Yeah.
But I remember one time it was me and my older brother. I forgot what it was. She told us like, you guys got 15 minutes to clean this room. The room was dirty. We had like a bunk bed, I remember, and the room was really bad. It was really, really dirty. She comes in, clean up this room. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna tell your dad, and
I'm not gonna tell you again.
I'm not gonna tell you again. It better be back, clean by the time I come back. So we're busting our ass, hustling, trying to put everything back, to clean it up. I guess clean up the room, and then she comes in before the 15 minutes is up, maybe 10 minutes in, and the room is obviously not clean. And she goes in through that room looking like a tornado. Oh, you guys don't want to clean. And the little bit of clean that we had, she started throwing around. That doesn't go there. That isn't. Oh, shit. And things are just flying over the room. I was like, fuck. Like, this was almost clean. And now you just
would it be
ruined the
till
whole
now? She
thing.
doesn't remember that.
Nah, she won't
My
remember.
parents don't remember it.
They have selective memory.
Like, honestly, I tell my mom some things that how I felt growing up. She's like, I always did the best I could.
I know.
Oh, I know.
That's what parents say.
Like when you just want to talk to them about something, like, Mom, this is how I felt in this situation. Oh, so I didn't do good enough for you, so I'm bad.
I remember
You
one
should have
time-
had a different mother.
Yeah,
I'm like, no,
I remember-
what?
I
the
remember-
shit?
Have a different.
Yeah, she's like, you should have a different mother. Oh, is it because I'm deaf? Like, she throws that
Oh
shit all
my
the time.
God.
Oh, it's because I'm deaf. That's
One
why.
time,
That's why
I
you
remember-
doing this.
I
No.
told my mom, like, I do remember, maybe because I was so picky, sometimes I remember being, like, hungry, right? And my mom would be like, I always have food for you guys.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, okay, I know you work very hard. I'm not taking that away from you.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
didn't
hit you
always.
with it. I remember days I didn't eat, so you could.
Exactly.
It's like, well.
No, anyways. No, that's crazy. That is,
I guess we have all those
similarities. The
Some
weirdest-
crazy parents.
the weirdest thing that I got hit with, and I think it needs an explanation, was like a bucket, and not just the bucket.
That sounds
So-
funny as hell.
You have
Like a water
in the-
bucket?
no, like a
Para mapear.
no, like
El
a water
cubo.
bucket, but like cut like in half. It's hard to explain. So this is what happened in DR.
A
when we-
weapon.
Huh?
You got hit with the weapon.
No, so check
He's
this
like,
out.
it's really hard.
Like-
my mom,
like a shield?
my mom hit me with her gun. Oh shit!
No. So check this out. In DR, I guess I don't know if it
It's
happened.
tradition.
No, no.
It's like hot buckets and
Yeah, Heinz
No,
57, mixture of everything.
No, so
It's a mixture of
in
everything.
front of our house, we of course there's dirt everywhere, right? And when it gets really dry, the dirt starts like it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like dusty.
Mud?
No, it creates all that
But it gets
dust.
hard.
Yeah. So what
Clay.
we had to do, no, essentially like the dirt will get hard and then it will get all dusty. Like if it was windy, all that dust will come inside the
fly
house.
Okay.
Because
So
the
my
top
mom-
layer becomes dust.
So my mom would tell
basically.
us like, yo, you gotta go and like spray water on it so it got a little like damp, and then it wouldn't like blow in the
Yeah.
dust when it was windy. So one day I remember she was the one doing it, and she was telling me to do something. I can't remember what it was, but I wasn't paying attention. Next thing you know, she was like, she throws the last thing of water, right? Shh, and like the bucket's empty, and then the bucket came to me. And like boom, I just remember getting hit with the bucket.
How old
I
were
was
you?
like, oh shit. I was probably like 9, 10. But I just remember like, oh shit, the water's all gone now.
She's like, water there, bucket over there. Ah.
But yeah. Out of all the things I remember.
That was a crazy story. Well, I think this segment, this conversation was pretty successful. We just talked about culture similarities, what we believe culture is. We actually shared some pretty funny stories. So let's go ahead. We just wrapped that up. I'm going to keep moving forward. What else do we got?
Do we got a 3-2-1 this week? Let's talk about that. Let's do a 3-2-1.
I say a
This
3-2-1.
conversation made me
Randy,
think of a 3-2-1.
Randy, Reina, and Sean, 3-2-1.
So for those of you guys that are new to the podcast, 3-2-1 is where each of us talk about something that was impactful for us through the week. Whether it was something that made us happy, it made us think about it, made us something that, you know, we thought was sad, whatever it is, something that impacted us in any kind of way that we thought we wanted to bring up and talk about. So,
Ladies first.
yeah.
Then we'll go with Sean.
So this whole conversation just made me think about growing up without, I guess, a phone, without
I can hear Sean already. Had no father. I can hear him say, she said, phone. I had no father.
No,
Barely had a house.
if you let me get into it.
That's good. Continue, Raina,
What I'm
please.
saying is, it was the good times where you just literally just spent time with your family and your friends. Like, you just went to the corner of the block and just sat there for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Just talking shit, nothing, you
Kicking
know.
it.
Just talking with your friends, hanging out, and not having to check your phone every 5 seconds to be like, oh, let me see who liked my
I got
Instagram picture. Like, who gives a shit about that? Like, the important part, as far as growing up in Jersey, was that, like, I hung out with my friends outside. I actually experienced, like, you know, what it was to be outside when in the summertime where the fire hydrant was always open and, you know, you get into the water and do that. Or, you know, 4th of July, you see the fireworks. And then in Puerto Rico, it's just, like, obviously it's tropical, so you're outside all day, every day. You're just there with your friends in the corner, and then you see them in school the next day. Like you just didn't hang out with them till like 4 o'clock in the morning the day before. But I don't know. I just felt like I missed those times, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get that back. Because now I feel
we
like
will.
a little kid that's like 10 already has an iPad and an iPhone, and I'm like, I barely got a freaking upgrade the other day. Like,
That's fine.
I don't get it. I don't understand that.
That's just technology.
Yeah,
Accept
that's
it.
interesting. What about you, Sean? What's
That's
something this
interesting.
week?
Thanks.
No, it's an interesting
I thought
topic.
you guys were gonna relate to what
No,
I
I
said.
relate. Obviously, that's. I
I
remember.
completely agree
I
with
love
everything.
technology. I have money in stock, so I can't go against that.
Not for most of I remember most of my childhood. Most of the streets, most of the games we played was in the street. Like you
With
know, that's just the way with buckets. That's just the way things were, and obviously it was a good time. Different times though.
All right, Sean, what's your takeaway for the week?
Hold on.
What are you taking away from this week? What
What's
did this
your-
last week show you? Or please give us your update on LeBron James,
No.
because I know you always talk
Yeah.
some big ball. Because I love basketball.
No, I would say it'd be my little sister. Like, she's in the military. She's still active, and
We appreciate her service.
Oh,
Yeah.
We do.
And so she was stationed right outside of Seattle. It was called Bremerton, and she's here for 2 weeks. And you know, I don't see her often, so I like to go
Yeah.
over and see her. And what I take from that is her willingness to sacrifice more than I believe I sacrifice, and what more than I know a lot of people don't sacrifice. You know what I mean? So I just take away her drive and the willingness of what she's willing to do for her success. I guess you could say.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's
I
awesome.
like that. Randy, what do you got? Wrap
For
that
me-
up with you.
And I talked about it a little before, but if you haven't, follow Will Smith on Instagram. It's just like life changing. But this week, or like I think last weekend, he did a video of like St. Patrick's Day. For St. Patrick's Day, he did a video, and he's singing a song. And I think it was him that was singing, that recorded the song.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah. No, that's
you know. Sometimes I think maybe somebody else's song and it just sounds kind of like him, but you know he does
Is
this
it,
whole
are you
thing.
talking about his freestyle?
No, like the one he did for St. Patrick's Day, where he's like talking about, I can't remember like
Yeah.
exactly the
Yeah.
lyrics.
No, that's him
but
freestyle.
he's on and he's dancing at the end, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, like that dude is just beyond that. And he did a video on like shouting out Nicky Jam and J
Mhm.
Balvin, which is big for the culture.
And then Kevin
It's-
Hart.
Yeah,
I like
and then
that.
Kevin
Their
Hart did a
response.
video in Spanish, according to him, because Will Smith is talking Spanish the whole time on this video that he talked about Nicky Jam and J Balvin's song. So yeah, that was pretty impactful for me. I think
We should
Will
all do the
Smith.
dance for the camera.
We should do it.
Play the
One,
song, Sebastian.
2, 3. No, let's not. Let's not.
No,
We're not gonna do that.
I didn't get that far into the video.
Into
to see
his-
The music video?
No, like he did 2 different ones. So one was the St. Patrick's Day one,
Mhm.
and then one was like J Balvin Ekis with
Oh, I didn't see that one.
with Nicky Jam. Yeah, and he talked about it, and the whole thing he did in Spanish. So that's pretty cool. He's like, yeah. Anyways,
So what do
Pretty
you
cool.
take away, Sebastian?
Oh, I didn't even. It was just you three today.
No.
no,
Tú
bro.
te escapas. What did you take away?
There's gotta be something this week,
What
bro.
about the
He's got
Something
something.
every
wonderful
day.
chuletas that I made today?
Let's see.
He's like, it wasn't that damn. He just
Dang,
like,
he completely
like,
ignored
that's
that.
Takeaway. Let's say it's I think it's kind of like an old saying, because I always like kind of making it almost a quote, but that old saying that says, "Say what you feel," because the people that, what does it say? Say what you feel, because the people that care won't mind, and if they mind, don't matter. How's it
Yeah.
go, Raina? Something like that.
Say what you. What is it?
Say
say
what
what
you-
you say.
Say
No.
what you
Say
think.
say what you feel
Say what you feel, because the people that mind,
don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
no, the people that matter don't mind, and the people that
Mind
mind don't matter.
Don't
It's
matter.
Same thing.
So basically,
Well,
either or. But I was thinking of that just because I feel that a lot of times,
wasn't that Dr. Seuss?
possibly after green eggs and hams, I don't know. But I think that's something I take away from the week. Just something that I was thinking about, how a lot of times we have to speak up and say how we feel, and not so much care about maybe what's coming back, as long as we're respectful about it. And if someone cares about your opinion, your what you have to say, then they'll understand respectfully, and you guys can have a dialogue and work things out. But I think that's always good. So.
Yeah, it's less chest pain.
Correct.
Less chest pain for sure.
So pro communication.
Yeah, pro communication. People say what you feel.
Feel what you say.
Feel what you say.
Te estás inventando cosas ahora.
But I think that's a
No,
good.
yeah,
That's a good.
He's
That's a good
feel
thing
on
to do.
everybody.
That's
You
a
know,
good takeaway.
I hate having to walk on eggshells with people or mix signals. Like I'm trying to, break down some Morse code or something. So
Yeah, no,
just
that's
tell me
cool.
what it is. So
Yeah, no, I like it. Cool. So to close off the episode, and I thought we'd change it up a little bit. I'm gonna do the people's note. Yeah, I just had a quote that really was impactful for me, so I hope this is okay. No, but
Go
so
ahead.
for those of you guys,
so much for
He
tradition.
just takes my segment.
yeah,
Keeping tradition, huh?
yeah, those of you guys that are new to the podcast, the people's note is where we share a quote so that you guys can maybe marinate on it, think about it, grow with us, grow with the show. So the quote that I heard was, "Luck is opportunity meeting preparation."
Mhm.
And it really, I thought it was a big thing that we don't think about, because I think we've all seen it. Everybody always thinks like, oh, he's lucky. This person's lucky that they got that opportunity. Oh, this person's only got that job because they're lucky. And, we all get in that route. And I think it's interesting because, yeah, again, luck is opportunity meeting preparation. So if you work hard for something, when the opportunity comes, you'll be the lucky one. to
it
get
almost makes me. You say that makes me think two things. One, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
I like that one a lot. But it makes me think more than that. It's almost like if you constantly do something, it's almost the law of the land that eventually somehow a door will open. So if you do the right thing, you just keep doing it,
You ready?
That's like something that I heard today on the
It's just
Breakfast
gonna
Club.
open.
Because they were interviewing someone, and she said that whatever job you do, even if it's not like your most favorite job, still do it with like put in the hard work, because you never know who's watching you,
Yeah.
and then you never know where the people around you, like, treat them kindly as well, because you never know that the people around you can go other places and then
Or
request
how
you.
important they may be. You never
You're
know.
creating that brand for yourself, that culture.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing, and you're moving forward. Like consistency is key. That's basically what that says.
Yeah.
But I like that.
No, for serial. So, for everybody that listens to our show, that tunes in every week, or watches our show now on YouTube, or whatever you may be listening to us, we really appreciate it. We appreciate all the feedback. Thank you guys for being with us week after week. If you haven't, please subscribe, like our content. If you really like this episode, let us know.
We appreciate you. So, just keep listening to us on all platforms. We appreciate any
Subscribe.
feedback. Give us feedback. Randy likes to ask questions on IG or social media. Keep responding. And thanks for the feedback that we've gotten so far. But, give us some feedback, criticism, whatever it is, constructive. Let us know what we can work on, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to get better.
We appreciate it. So thank you very much, guys.
Cut.